Syndicated presents Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian.
He's Shep. I'm Sean. How you doing, Shep? Good weekend?
You're freaking me out.
Why?
I don't notice you in a hat, non-hat. Very
You know what it is? I think I got my hair cut today. So maybe I just I didn't put on a hat or whatever.
Are you a big believer if you wear a hat too much, you get thinning up top here? Some people believe that. I've
had a lot of Ally Afraidy's a guy that said that. And I've never Shep, I may be partial silver fox, but I have no thinning whatsoever up here.
Where's the silver in your hair?
Oh, dude, here.
Oh,
look, you see that? I have a lot. Well, I know, but I have a lot. I really do. I have a lot.
You have a lot. I think you have more in your beard than you do in your hair.
I love it in the beard. I'm not even gonna lie. I think that's
dude. It doesn't matter if you love it. It's whether Kristen loves it.
Well, that's I need all the distinguished I can get. I have so little distinguished in my everyday. I think the little white in the beard makes a little distinguished.
Start wearing glasses and you'll look a lot smarter. Okay?
Yeah. That's I tried that a few years ago.
Yeah. So good show this morning on the NFL draft. Just for those who missed it, I mean, recap what you liked and what you didn't like.
I love the fact that Shep, I think he went 1, 2, 3 in regards to the needs. And it's funny because in a perfect world, and Brad even talked about this after the fact, you and I touched on this last week. You have, when the two roads can intersect, when you have need and BPA, regardless of what the stupid rankings mean, then it's all good. And Shep, honestly, was pick one the best pick. I liked another guy, okay, but Brad infinitely knows more than I do. He's done a good job scouting it out. He feels that's a pick. Go with it. Same thing, I think, when you go in second round. Were there other edges above him? Hell, Shep, almost every mock that I looked at had this guy not only available at 50, but maybe even available at 60. They liked him. They said it fit what they wanted to do. Roll with it. Jimmy Rolder is the one guy, and I love when guys try to play pretend. I don't know much about him. I remember him at Michigan. Nothing really stood out to me. Yeah. I asked some of my friends who are diehard Michigan fans what they thought. And it was a real mixed bag. One of my buddies told me that, okay, if you're expecting this guy to cover guys out of the backfield, it's never going to happen. He couldn't do it in college and he won't do it in the NFL. Yet another one of my guys said, oh my gosh, I think this guy was one of the most underrated players on Michigan's thing. Shep, you got to trust your staff. You got to trust your process. Those are those guys. It checks boxes and needs. I don't know where the bitch would come from, Shep. How's that?
I think it's gotten them this far. So a few things. I know people at Michigan, Derrick Moore and Jimmy Rolder, both grade A guys, but that's not why you draft them. But it's in addition to. Sure. Moore's more of a bull rush type of guy. He's not going to spin his way and do all these different things, but he's quick. He's athletic. He's strong. They're going to teach him a few things. Obviously, nobody's a proven product when they come in. Okay. Jimmy Rolder, a sure tackler, really reads plays quickly and reads them well. I don't know if he's an every down linebacker. What I like most is the Detroit's got a lot more depth at this time than they did a year ago, maybe even 2 years ago. And you're going to have some options. I will say this, and I gave their, for what it's worth. I love it when people give grades. It just makes you shake your head. But I thought they did a good job. That's why I said a B. Here's the thing. They drafted Miller. I wanted Freeling. Okay. Mm-hmm. And Freeling went two drafts, 2 players, 2 teams later. Okay. They took Derrick Moore. I wanted Akis. I wanted Gabe Akis. He went 11 picks later. So maybe I'm wrong there. Okay. They took Rolder. I wanted Dennis Sutton. He went 7 picks later. He's the kid out of Penn State, but there's a lot of negatives about him. Okay, this is my mindset while I'm going through the draft. And when they took Kendrick Law at 168 in the 5th round, I wanted Cole Payton, the quarterback out of North Dakota State.
Mm-hmm.
He went 10 picks later. Now, like I said on the Braylon Edwards show today, you're not taking quarterbacks on this team, Sean. You're not. Would you be able to sneak a 5th round draft pick by somebody to get on the practice squad? Probably not. Can you sneak Luke Altmaier by him? Yeah, you probably can. So they did address it. I like that they got big, they got physical. As you said, they got needs. They got quality players.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who you are, whether you like a certain player or you fall in love with certain guys. You and I both know plenty of people who just fall in love with one guy, got to have him. If you don't take that guy, you're wrong about everybody else. You can understand why they chose these players. The wide receiver law, a little strange. Love Abney, the cornerback from Arizona State. But law is a little confusing, but he can block and he can take it to the house on jailbreak screens, on flood screens and bubble screens and all that other stuff. So I kind of like what they did. I'm a little surprised they didn't take a safety, but if they didn't have him high on their board, then I respect it.
That's it. Like, really, this is one, I think, Shep, a lot of times things have become performative in our business. Let's see if we can have the meltdown. Let's see who loses their mind. And I'm not sitting back insinuating that everybody that does it is doing it for clicks and views, but a majority of them are.
You're damn right they are.
This is one. Okay. And you bring up Abney. Okay. He's sitting there. I get it. Take him.
Yeah.
I get it. Now there are shortcomings with him, but he was sitting in a place where I don't think a lot of people thought he was going to be sitting. Nobody so you take him. I'm going to say let me try. I don't want to say the exact same thing. I'm going to try to add to what you said about Law. I don't get it right now with what else they have on this roster. I don't get it. Okay. Now, is this something that, okay, we can sit him for a year. Let's see how this Dort situation plays out. Let's see how this plays out. But right now, Shep, today on April 27th, I don't know how Law fits in. I don't know.
How many wide receivers do you need?
I would say I would say 5. I would say 5. 5 is the magic number.
I think you probably, I was going to say 6.
Okay.
I think some teams have taken 7. You're going to play 3, at least 3 a game. You're going to have another as a punt returner, perhaps another as a kick returner. You'd like somebody who handle both. You'd love somebody to be able to contribute in a 4 wide receiver set and handle the punts, but that's not how it always goes. So 5 or 6, okay. If that's the case, you could see why he makes it. Let me ask you this. If he doesn't make it, who's the other guy? So you got 3, obviously, St. Brown, Williams, and Tesla. Okay. Who are the others who are guaranteed to make it?
I think Dortch is for sure. Wouldn't you?
Sign him to a 1-year deal? I don't know.
I think Shep, that's why I think Law is more not now, but next year. I think Dortch is you're probably going to see him come in the Khalif Raymond role, and he's going to do the punt, definitely going to do the kick returns, and we'll see in a year, and then maybe at that point in time, Law. But Shep, I'm not complaining about the kid's talent. I think his talent is there, and Lord knows, it's kind of funny when people kind of excuse away a later round wide receiver. It's like, haven't you been paying attention? Like, this is what's been going on in the National Football League. Oh, by the way, one of the better wide receivers in the National Football League is this guy by the name of Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I'm not sure if you're aware of where he was picked, but that's what I look at, Shep, is I'm not completely dismissing it. I'm just sitting there right now saying, okay, well, where does he fit in right now? I don't know. Is this a case, Shep, where they can sit back and say, well, you know what, maybe we could have him as the 5. Maybe we could, even keep him, dare I say, on a practice squad until next year to see how things play out. But I don't know,
man. It's a 5th round pick. I bet you somebody would gobble him up. Remember, Antonio Brown was a 6th round draft pick
Yes, sir.
at some point. The other thing I
Equity
would
lost
say,
his mind.
I think this also proves, I think if people want to look at it this way, it might prove that the Lions actually did take BPA because there is no need for a wide receiver by most. So I think this, I don't know if Brad Holmes would ever do this. I doubt it, but he's like, see, you guys don't think I'm taking BPA? You think I'm filling all needs? Wrong answer. Here's you go. I'm taking this guy. I think they went by their board and they had this guy that they've liked for 3 years. You know, he's been looking at this kid play for a long time. I give him a ton of credit for doing that. It just goes to show you, Sean. I mean, people will constantly talk about Brad Holmes taking offensive players because the offense has the big names. They had 7 draft picks. 5 were on the defense. 3 were on the defensive line. So they have built depth through 2 different ways, free agency and the draft. Good for them. I hope it works out for them.
Yep. People had a meltdown with that first pick was made at 17. That comes from Tom in London. I don't get it. You addressed a need. He is a plug and play guy.
What do you think the meltdown would be about?
Honestly, Shep, I think it was Reuben Bain. I think people saw a big shiny thing that was supposed to go in the top 10, and I think people saw a big shiny thing. And I guess Shep, I know
he wasn't there. You'd have had to trade. You'd have had to trade up.
Well, that was the speculation that they were going to move up.
Right.
I mean, even early in the day, a couple guys that follow this stuff very closely. And you heard Brad talk about it. Brad was in conversation with a couple different teams. And I know there was the one speculation he was with Commanders. I think people wanted shiny things. I really do. And I have accepted a long time ago. Brad does not put the same major premium on that other edge as a lot of us do. I think the fact that he went 44th shows more of a premium on than he has shown in the past and everything. So, Shep, everything that I've read, everything that I've heard, even Pete Prisco, who in his, what's the best way I could describe Pete Prisco? In his hot takey way, tried to kill the pick, but then said, well, this is a guy that will just come in and play. So I guess it's not that bad. And it's like, well, isn't that the point? I don't get it.
The funny thing is, we're very selective in who we choose to listen to, follow, and believe.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wanted to say the Lions were going to trade up. And I'm not saying they were all wrong, but many of those same people were saying Detroit was locked in on Caden Proctor. And from what you could gather from Brad Holmes, they were pretty locked in on Gabe Miller. Like they wanted, they were going to trade up for Miller more so than anybody else.
Yep.
So that's first and foremost. I thought you were going to say a lot of people didn't like him because he played at Clemson, and they don't play. You know, usually they do. They play some pretty tough non-conference schedule players or teams. But maybe some people don't feel like the ACC is as worthy, even though they had a team in the national championship last year. This is interesting because John says, guys, I'm not disappointed in the draft. I'm disappointed what they did before in free agency. I don't think they get better in the offseason. I would disagree with that, John. Here's the way I look at it, and Sean, tell me if I'm wrong here.
All
you
right.
felt like you needed a tackle. You went out, you signed a guy for 1 year in Larry Borum, $5 million, and then you drafted a tackle. So you got a tackle in free agency, you got a tackle in the draft. You needed an edge. They went out, they signed DJ Wanham. You drafted Derrick Moore. You needed some inside, outside corners. You go out, you signed Roger McCreary, who I think is a good player, and you drafted Keith Abney II out of Arizona State. You needed a linebacker. You went out and you got Damone Clark, but you drafted Jimmy Rolder. You needed a slot receiver. You went out and you mentioned Greg Dortch. They signed, and then they drafted Kendrick Law. They needed a center. What do they have? They had Cade Mays. They went out and signed him. Juice Scruggs can play guard and or center for you. I think Brad Holmes recognized just how they lacked depth on both sides of the line, and I think he went out and he addressed it. They signed 14 free agents just because it wasn't Trey Hendrickson or Max Crosby, and they didn't re-sign Thor doesn't mean that they had a bad offseason. I think they got quality depth, and they drafted a lot of guys who are going to be starters for them.
I will, Shep, I will say this until I'm blue in the face, and I've said this the 3 months. We really need to drop the debate about Jared Goff. If you're not protecting Jared Goff, you're not only doing him a disservice, you're doing the entire franchise a disservice. And stop before somebody yells, well, you could say that about anybody. More so for Jared Goff. Like, we need to drop that. Our buddy, our mutual friend, Neil Rule, and I had that conversation draft night.
Let's be real. Let's be real.
Stop. Okay. Every quarterback needs to be protected. He needs to be protected more. Period. Sure. End of story. Okay.
Yeah. And if you can't admit that, there's no point in having a discussion.
Exactly.
Because you're delusional.
Yep.
You're delusional about that. And it's okay, by the way. That's okay.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, Shep, I confess my sin all the time. I thought this guy was broken. I thought he was an absolute throw-in in that deal. I cared about the draft picks. I was one of those guys. Thank God I was wrong. But it is of the utmost importance to protect that man. I think they will protect that man. If I had to complain about one thing, I'm a little scared of the third linebacker, because I do not believe for a second, I know people love him, but I do not believe for a second Rodrigo is a valid starter in the National Football League. I'm sorry. And I don't know enough about Jimmy Rolder. I'm not going to pretend that I do to say, yeah, this dude, yeah, he can come in. Don't worry. He's got it set.
Right,
because
right. I'm with you on that.
People, so I had to pick. It's that. And then look.
Well, don't forget Damone Clark, though. I mean, he's in that mix. So
sure. And then obviously with the safeties, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like they're both on track. One's going to be later, but we're all going to have to gulp and take the wait and see about Kirby. We just are. I think that's going to be the rest of his. Somebody said Jimmy Rolder is Rodrigo 2.0. No, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
I don't see that. I think there's a lot of people who love Malcolm Rodriguez in his rookie season. I hope Jimmy Rolder recognizes plays better than Malcolm Rodriguez. I hope he's a sure tackler. Okay. I don't know how great he's going to be. If you're going to compare him to Jack Campbell, I think you're going to be disappointed. If you're going to be compare him to Bobby Wagner, you're going to be disappointed. I think he's better than Malcolm Rodriguez. And I think the Lions feel that way too. Otherwise, they wouldn't have drafted him in that spot.
Yeah, no, I get it. Let me see. Vikings had a horrible draft. You know who I liked again, Shep, 2 years in a row, and I hate to say it, the Chicago Bears, and I hate the Bears. Have I ever mentioned that? I mean, I can't tell you how much I hate the Bears. The Chicago Bears look like a competent franchise to me. I'm so serious when I say that. And it bothers me, but I have a job to do, and I have to be honest. How about the hockey playoffs? I'll get your thoughts on that in a second. 1-0 Pittsburgh already. Rolder is Rodrigo 2.0. Well, we'll wait and see about that.
I thought the Browns were really good.
Yes, the Cowboys were. I thought Dallas had a good draft.
Yeah, I thought Dallas had an excellent draft, especially on day one. When you get Caleb Downs and Malachi Lawrence, I thought that was fantastic. I'm not going to try to fool people and say I know all their draft picks, but those first two guys were pretty damn good. And I do like, as usual, I do like what the Eagles did. The Eagles took a wide receiver in Mekhi Lemon. They took a really good tight end in Eli Stowers. They got Cole Payton in the 5th round. They got an offensive tackle in Markel Bell from Miami, although he got beat quite a bit from what I saw. And they filled up with some guys down the stretch in the backfield, defensive backfield. So I thought they had a really good draft too.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Shep, did you say a prayer for Kucherov last night? I don't know if people were watching. He nearly died on the ice, and I hope that I hope you at least remember him in your prayer.
Would you really be saying this if they were playing
yes
other than Montreal?
Yes, I swear to God I would be. I mean, look, does it bother me that they were playing Montreal? Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Who's worse, him or LeBron James?
I see, Shep. I was gonna say. I had Paul Pierce flashbacks last night.
Yeah. He
was down on the ice. I was waiting for the jaws of life to be extended from the rafters of the Bell Center. And the priest to slowly make his way out on the ice. He's kicking his little tiny legs. You see him kicking his little tiny legs? He's going, Lord, make the pain go away.
What were you saying at the time?
I can't say it on a family show like this. And then, there is nothing like, you want to know what heals the most? You want to know what heals the most in life? The next time you're in the hospital, you know what you need to ask the doctor for? And I hope you're not in the hospital anytime soon. Hey, Doc, could you give me a power play? Once they gave him that shot of power play, it's a miracle.
How about a 5-on-3? That wouldn't be a bad idea either.
I will fight him.
But every game being a 1-goal game, I think
that's been phenomenal. It really has been. That series has been phenomenal. Really,
here's the strange thing: that the basketball playoff series has been, I think, more competitive than the NHL one, which surprised me. I mean, Colorado and the Kings, goodnight, right?
Ottawa, at least Ottawa and Carolina, every game was close. It really was. Every game.
You're right. It didn't feel like it didn't feel like as decisive a series as it was for Carolina. Anaheim winning 4-3 in overtime last night to beat Edmonton and up 3-1 is pretty impressive. But if you look in basketball, there's really only, I would say, one blowout series. OKC, of course. Minnesota has surprised. The Lakers have surprised. Orlando, as we all know, has surprised. Atlanta has surprised the Knicks, even though they just got blown out. Philly winning 1 game over Boston was stunning to me. So, because I just don't think Philly's very good. I think they've got, 2 good players, and Boston's got, like 75 waiting on the bench.
Yeah.
And all of them can shoot threes. They made 24 triples yesterday. It's absolutely sickening, while Cleveland is 10 for 40, which gets me to the Pistons a little bit. You're going, hey, wait a minute. People think there's no way Detroit can beat any of these teams. Have you seen Cleveland shoot the basketball? I mean, Boston took 53 triples yesterday, Sean. 53. Okay.
Shep.
They made 24 of them. It's amazing. They were shooting from the parking lot attendance gate, and they were making them.
Fell asleep in OT last night for the Ducks game. There is not a more fascinating watch than the Edmonton Oilers. And I know a couple Oiler fans, and I tell them all the time, I would literally headbutt my window and put my face through a window if I was an Oiler fan. I couldn't live like that, Shep. You don't know what you're getting shift to shift. It's nuts. I've never seen a more neurotic team.
I agree, dude. I mean, you would turn on the oven and stick your head in the oven.
Yep.
If you were an Oilers fan. I mean, and here's on top of that, Sean, you would be freaking out even more thinking that the best player in the world is going to leave.
Yep.
Because he's had enough.
Yep.
And you could understand why. Right?
He might just be doing that. Hey, how much trouble are the Pistons in? I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts. I'm serious when I say this. I've been waiting all day to ask you this.
Yeah.
How much trouble are the Pistons in?
Here's how I describe it. I don't recognize this team, and it's strange to me. Cade Cunningham is the only player I recognize. He's playing very similar. I hated the 9 turnovers in the last game. He's playing very similar to the way he played during the regular season. Give me another player who's playing just like they are. I mean, maybe Tobias Harris in a game, okay, because he was pretty good in the last game. He had 25. Duren is obviously not playing the way he is. Asar Thompson isn't playing. He was a -10 in the last game. Everyone's like, 17 points and 8 rebounds. He's a -10 on the floor, okay? Ron Holland is ordering hot dogs because he's not getting off the bench, all right? Duncan Robinson is about the same. Karis LeVert, looks like he's still celebrating a Michigan national championship. Nobody looks the same outside of Cade Cunningham. To me, that's scary. Cade Cunningham is leading both teams in scoring in the playoffs. Tobias Harris is 3rd. Orlando has 4 of the top 6 scorers in the playoff. They look like they are physical. They look like, I hate this cliche, but I'm going to say it anyway. They look like they want it more, and they sure as hell aren't intimidated. This bullshit going into this series of no one's going to go inside on Isaiah Stewart. No one's going in inside our guys. Guess what? Orlando's going like this. Hold my beer.
Right.
Another layup.
Shep, they're a good team. They're an 8 in name only. And
Correct.
It's John, you said this. It's so funny. I brought this up. Johnny Stacks. I brought this up this morning. Okay. I think Langdon still has the free pass. Okay. Once this season's over, the free pass goes away. All right.
Why does he have a free pass?
Well, I'll tell you, it's almost like some people like myself wanted a second scorer on this team. It's horrible. At the time, and I'm not arguing with you, Johnny, At the time, the Pistons were number one in the conference.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, you are, and if you remember a deadline, well ahead in the conference, okay? At the time, I sat back and said, okay, I'm not ready to put him in the non-aggression group yet. And you know what I mean by the non-aggression group? The other three general managers in town. I'm not ready to put him in the not to be confused with the non-aggression pact. And we know how well that worked out for Joseph Stalin. Shep and I are doing World War II history tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Be here. But
December 7th, 1941. Go ahead.
Yeah. But Shep, you know what? If it fails, guess what? It's over.
That's right.
Now, why
did you break them up? That's exactly what happens.
You got it. What are you prepared to do now? How aggressive are you going to be? Because again, no disrespect. I'm just shooting straight. The other guys in this town haven't exactly been the most aggressive guys, okay? Mm-hmm. And that's why people like Shep and I look at Howie Roseman and say, can we just one time push all the chips in? Just push all the chips in and see what, and don't even get me started on Scott Harris. There's a difference between not doing anything and legitimately making your team worse. And that man made the team worse at trade deadline last year, bringing in the sheriff and Chaz Morton. Okay. Mm-hmm. And Steve Eisenman, I think that speaks for itself.
Don't forget Alex Cobb. Come on. Yeah. He didn't pitch at all. And you paid him $15 million.
So Shep,
he made more than Derrick Moore.
Me personally, I couldn't do that yet to Langdon this year, but that free pass is over. Especially you're out early, God forbid in the first round, the free pass is over. Now it's like, okay, are you going to be aggressive? Because now putting up 60 wins isn't near good enough. It's all about that expectation bar being raised.
Okay, fair enough, but let's disagree here. Why is it that, Brad Holmes had a chance, quote unquote? It was wide open in the NFC 2 years ago. And he didn't make the proper move.
23. Okay. For me, 23. Boom.
Okay. Well, I was saying after they went to the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
Okay. And then 15-2. It was wide open for you. You had home field wide. Was this not a year with Indiana losing two big players, one to injury and one to free agency? Boston with the injury to Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
Cleveland with a slow start. The Knicks with a new coach who that team doesn't seem like they want to play for. Was this not a year to do something very similar for the Pistons that everybody wanted the Lions to do? Why didn't they do that? Why is this year a gift year? Because so many people feel like, well, they haven't won a home playoff game until this year since 2008, and we want to see them win a playoff series first. Bullshit.
Do you know what I think,
Shep? 60 wins. You get 60 wins. You got home court throughout in the Eastern Conference Finals. You're gonna allow this to have an effect on you where you just say, "I'm good," but just winning a playoff series. That stuns me that this fan base would feel that way.
Do you know what I think it was, Shep? I think a lot of people, one of the greatest old bits in NBA is the East is down. Yeah. And I think a lot of people thought, as is, especially at the deadline, fact check me, but I think they were like 8 games up or whatever at the time. I mean, they were, it looked like they were running away. Did I want more? Of course. Of course I did. But you know how people are in this town. And especially when we're doing these shows. Hell, you and I lived in an era, and of course people deny it ever happened now. The day that they picked up Rasheed Wallace, people were weeping and wailing and gnashing their teeth. They were so angry. Now, you won't find anybody to admit that today. Almost like you can't find anybody that will admit, yeah, I was all in on Brady Hoke. You can't find one single human that will admit that, okay? Right. And I think a lot of that was going around this year. Okay, I do. And
they didn't want to disrupt. They didn't want to disrupt the chemistry.
Yes,
right? That's what everybody talked about.
And I said it together, back then.
Yeah.
Shep, if you don't do it, okay, that's fine. But guess what? If you fail, you're in the club now. Right. You were in the non-aggression club. You are. And I'm not. Do you think they win the series?
I do. I still do. But I will say this. I mean, John brings up a really good point. Cade's the best player on the floor. Orlando has the next 5 best players. So when I read that, I thought to myself, who are they? And is he right? And then you write it down. Okay, you write down Cade Cunningham. Then it's who? Paolo Banchero.
Yep.
Right? Okay.
Undoubtedly.
Okay. Desmond Bane. So far in the series. We're talking about in the series here. Mm-hmm. Desmond Bane, right? It's been pretty damn good. Franz Wagner's been really good. Jalen Suggs. Wendell Carter.
Oh, boy.
Where does Tobias Harris fit in? Tobias Harris is in that mix somewhere. So I don't know if they have the next 5, but to John's point, they have more of the next 5 than Detroit does.
It's debatable. That's the worst part is it's debatable. Absolutely.
If let's just say for sake of argument, we went Cunningham, Boncaro, Bain, Wagner, Harris, then went Carter and Suggs. I think we would both make our point, but John would be being closer to right than anybody else, saying they have at least the next 4 out of the next 6 best players.
Yeah, what was that? 5 of 7? Five of the 7 best?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 of the next 6.
Oh, that's a wonderful. That's a wonderful thing to go into a series. That's. I like my chances there. Good point.
But to the point that we were making earlier, they're not playing who they are. If Jalen Duren is playing the way he is during the regular season, he's in there, not Wendell Carter. Jalen Duren averaged 19.5 points per game during the regular season. He's averaging 9 in this series. You can't get outplayed by Wendell Carter and expect for your team to win. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
So let's see what happens tonight. Got to have it, right?
Yeah. Very quick on the Tigers because we obviously we want to get everybody off. Very quick on the Tigers. I still want to egg Jack Flaherty. If I saw him walking down the street, I'd hide behind a bush and throw eggs at him.
I don't think you would. I think you would jump right out in front of him and do it. Listen, I would like to know what you expect out of a guy who makes $25 million. He's pitched 25 innings. He's got a 5.3 ERA, Sean. He's got a 1.74 whip, and he's got a minus 0.1 WAR. What's wrong with you?
He might catch an egg and throw it back at me, but there's no way in hell he'd hit me. So I have nothing to worry about. He'd be 3 feet outside. So he'd send me on a walk. Shep, you saw it up close and personal. Torque is doing it again. Every time the murmurs and whispers start, all of a sudden he goes off on some kind of Torque tangent or something. Yeah. And, the walk-off on Thursday, 5 straight home runs. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, pretty cool what he's doing. Here's what I like most about it. Obviously, the production. Now, it's not exactly where you want it to be. What's he batting? 236, right? Something like that. 472 slug, which is up from 227 slug. He's got the 5 home runs. I think it's really hard to do this in baseball because of the mental aspect of it. When you are going back to the dugout and you recognize that even though you may not know the specifics, that you're 1 for your last 24, you feel that, right? You can make up for that by hitting the ball hard. You can make up for that by watching the ball do certain things, okay? I knew that was going to be outside. That was a good take, right? He hasn't had many of those feelings, and yet look at what he's done recently. Now, again, it's not a finished product. It doesn't mean he's back, but I never thought he was lost in the first part, or gone, if you will. I was willing to give him a little bit more time. So I give him a ton of credit for being able to hang in there. My question to you, Sean, is how many games do you need to win this division? Like, what did Cleveland have last year? 89?
Yeah.
The year before, it was 92 for Cleveland. If Detroit is to win 90 games, and I think that would be the threshold, they have to have a winning percentage of almost 57% the rest of the way. They would have to go 75-58 in the final 133 games. Does this team have the ability to do that with its bullpen that's been a little leaky and some of the starting pitching that has been questionable as of late?
Shep, we don't have that 6, 7, 8, 9 guy. I mean, we just don't, or excuse me, 6, 7 guy. The 8 and 9, not so bad, but that 6, 7 role and maybe 7, 8, a little iffy. There's no doubt about that.
Remember this, Sean. Remember, Jason Foley led the team in saves one year. The next year, he wasn't part of this team. Although I think he got hurt, and then there was the following year. Baseball teams use relievers like football teams use wide receivers, 3rd and 4th wide receivers. They are oftentimes viewed as a dime a dozen. They are going to use the living, like running backs, feed the guy, keep feeding him. And then you're not going to sign him to that long-term deal because he's a running back and you're going to get another one, right? That's how relievers are. Relievers, you're going to use them as much as you possibly can. And no one's signing you to that long-term deal. You're gone after a couple of years because you've used all that arm up. I wonder how that is right now with a guy like Will Vest, who's pitched a lot of baseball over the last couple of years.
No doubt about it. Shep, I'll get back to you. I really think the numbers a couple of years ago in the Central were skewed because the White Sox were so historically bad.
Right.
I mean, everything kind of went up like that. Shep, honestly, I think 89 could win this division. I really do. I think 89 could win this division.
That's still a 56% clip.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Oh, I'm not spitting on it. But yeah, I mean, and the Royals obviously aren't the team. There were some people, I think Pagoda had them with more wins than the Tigers.
Yeah.
And unless something happens, Shep, it has to happen quick. They don't look good at all. They don't look good at all.
Well, their pitching is brutal. They let go of Asa Lacy, who was the 4th overall pick in the Torkelson draft. And that's another thing. People need to go back and look at it. That draft. I would get rid of Torque. They should have never drafted him. Who did you want? I don't know. No, you don't know. I can't name another name. I just gave you Asa Lacy, okay? I can give you Austin Martin. There isn't anybody. He actually leads that draft class in WAR. And a lot of people may find that surprising. You had to take somebody. But hopefully he's turned it around. In the meantime, the McGonigal kid's just been unbelievable.
Did you and I have this conversation? Jack and I were there Wednesday night. And I know a guy like you with all the experience you have being in the park. Jack, I looked at Jack. He cranked a double, I don't know, the 5th or 6th inning. Shep, it didn't sound like any other ball hit the entire damn game.
Right.
Like I am not being a geek. Like I looked at Jack and I go, did you hear that? And he's like, Dad, I've kind of been at the stadium almost every night and everything. And I was like, I'm baseball snob. But like, Shep, seriously, I'm sitting there. I looked at him. It makes a different sound. There's no other way to say that. That dude's a professional hitter.
Yeah, they used to say that down in spring training all the time. When you hear a certain sound, everybody just goes like this.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's him. I think this is the biggest compliment you get. I think he's a dirtbag. I love that about him.
Yeah.
I love that he gets after it. He plays the game like, well, let's be old guys here for a minute. Plays the game like an old school. Pete Rose played the game that way. Robin Yount played the game that way. He plays that type of style of baseball. You can tell why Chase Utley was his favorite player because of how he plays the game. I love that about him.
Yep. No doubt. All right. Check out Shep in the morning, in the afternoon with Braylon Edwards as well. It's always a pleasure, bud. Let's catch up next week.
Okay, brother. Have a great week.
All right. God bless you guys. Make sure you keep hope alive. Go Pistons. Big one tonight. We'll see you.
Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Still Alive by Anti-Ghost. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.